Hello and welcome back to Factorio Tightening the Belt Megabase Guide. I'm Xterminator and thank you for joining me. So off camera, I've turned all this to red belt. It was made quite easy thanks to the upgrade planner, which I actually remember to use, surprisingly. But we've turned this to red belt now, and this is all red belt down to here. And then I've also this one all the way to steel. So this steel build is now completely turned on almost. It looks like we're having a bit of an issue still with getting things down here. I think that maybe some of this needs to be red belt or my merge point isn't great. Because this is backed up. I'm going to see what happens if we just make the whole thing red belt. I don't think it will really help. But we'll see. Alright, so, okay, maybe it will help. Alright, so we've made that red belt. This goes into yellows. So this whole build should pretty much be on. And then these builds, everything is backed up, but they are at a stage to where we could upgrade them all to red. It looks like actually these first two are entirely red belt already, which is perfect. And again, we have a red splitter here because you want to match the colors, except for the coal doesn't have to be red because the throughput on that is obviously much lower than the iron. So there's no need to make that a red splitter at this point. But I'm just going to quickly do this one just so it can be evened up with these guys. And what we want to do now is build another steel smelter, but there's a couple little train things I want to go over with you guys first. That I neglected to cover last episode, which is actually some really good stuff to know, as some people point out in the comments. So in situations like this, also I ran the fuel up here by the way, in situations like this where you're having essentially all of the same type of resource delivered to the same spot but with multiple stations, so we have 3 stations but they're all going to be iron, so it's not like we're putting copper in here or something. What you can actually do is, instead of naming them differently, as I have like main drop 1, drop 2, drop 3, in this type of situation you can actually name these stations all exactly the same. And the trains will figure out which ones, based on the signals and stuff, which ones are empty and which is full, and they will just pick the empty one, right? Most of the time. So we're actually going to try that here because this is kind of a cool thing you can do, is you can just name them all the same, and we're just going to do that, and it shouldn't mess them up at all, because let's just say, for example, the second train was coming in right now. He would just go to the station because it's open, or this station, but actually we want to not have this do that, because we actually don't want a train going here right now. So it'll just choose this open station since there is a train in here, and then vice versa. So this is a way you can do it. There is, after a certain length, that it stops working correctly. That the trains can't look ahead that far. I want to say it's 1,000 tiles. Maybe it's more than that. They changed it a couple times, so I don't remember off the top of my head. But in this distance, it should totally work. And I'm also noticing our oil thing is okay. Never mind. I was confused. Okay, so yeah, there's just that that you can do, which can become fairly handy for multiple delivery spots of the same resource, instead of having to set, having 10 different orders for 10 different stations. You can just have them all just go to one named station. You can see here he pulls in and no problem. All right, so let's go ahead and build this unloader here. I don't need this uranium blueprint. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. This is some sort of, this is a balance. Oh, I don't even know what I was using this for. I don't even remember what I was using that for. But we're gonna just blueprint this. Let's just blueprint this whole thing, minus these undergrounds. So I should be able to just get rid of those. You can just right click the thing up here and it will get rid of all of them. We're going to do this. And there we go. And our bots should build it. I hopefully should have all the materials. Looks like I did forget a little bit here. Bots? Anybody? Great. See, this is what happens. Now the bots in the main network have decided to take over this task for the rest of this, which is really, really frustrating. I really wish there was a toggle, or it was just automatic, that if you're in a Roboport network and you have a personal Roboport turned on, that your bots will take priority, like your personal bots, because this is really frustrating when this happens. So these guys, normally, well, we are going to put a balancer, but it won't really fit here. So we want to run these outwards. And pretty much just like this. And really, now that I'm looking at this, we could just do a balancer right here. We can underground this fuel line, which is what we should do anyway, because again, it's kind of like the main bus. You don't want 4 undergrounds when you could just do 1 underground. So we're just going to underground that, and then we can just do our balancer like here. And we want this guy like so. I mean, I probably could just blueprint this, but doing it by hand, it keeps it in my memory, because sometimes I will forget this. Okay, so that takes care of that one. And then this is going to come down, and we have, I think, 4 smelters actually that are left, but they're not needed quite yet. I want at least 1 or 2 of these lines to go to another steel smelting array. So with that in mind, we need to clear this out, and this gear thing is going to have to move, which is going to just completely fill up my inventory. Let's go ahead and use these grenades on something. I forgot I can one-shot the trees now. Fantastic. So theoretically, we should be able to. I already had that blueprint in, didn't I? Oh no, that's a load. Okay. We should be able to just blueprint this thing. It looks like that didn't actually fix the issue. I'm gonna need to do some modifications here. Well, part of it is these belts aren't. It's because these are being split yet again. So really, this almost needs like 2 red belts, now that I'm looking at this. So we could feed one of those other ones into here. Tell me, man, steel takes a lot of iron. Like a lot. I mean, we're currently producing 300 and some odd a minute, which is not really enough. So I'm actually reconsidering. We could do another steel setup, and we did leave room. We will want another steel setup, but alternatively, we could just make this one longer, because this, as you can see, even if the whole thing's running, this is nowhere near enough to actually compress a yellow belt. So it could actually be advantageous to just make this longer. And I'm thinking that that may be what we want to do. This is a little bit not great. How we want to do these circuits is going to interfere with things. Like what I'm going to do is have the circuits come like over this way, and they're going to have to veer back up, which is going to be a little bit awkward. But we do need room for the steel, yeah, because these are going to need to now, like somewhere over here-ish, like come back up through here. It's a bit of a roundabout way to do things, but... And I am actually just going to pick all this up because I definitely could use these circuits in my inventory. Oh. Okay, so now we can just... I mean, we could blueprint this again, I guess. Find a bit to blueprint. We don't need to blueprint the whole thing. Are these not... Wow, for some reason... I don't know what's wrong. My eyes are going nuts. For some reason, I thought that wasn't lined up. So let's blueprint up to this point. Yeah. Let's blueprint up to there. This guy's going to have to scooch over. Or just move entirely. Okay, so we've got that. How is this guy going to line up? Well, really, he needs to line up like that. And that's actually pretty much perfect. Let me not stand in the way. As well as this. This guy needs to move. Actually, was that maybe wasn't even needed, but redundancy is always good. I mean, theoretically, that should be good, right? It's gonna take him a little bit to do this, but it's definitely faster than if I did it. We're probably missing, yes, everything. And yet again, the network bots have decided to take over this task, which I definitely don't want them to do for the belt because it's like on the entire opposite side of the factory. So we're just going to do that ourselves. Inserters, they can probably take care of. And then these, I think we're going to have to make ourselves. So we'll have to do some different belt tactics to actually get this iron all the way down here. There's a few options for this. One option actually, which there's not much room to do it here. I'm gonna just connect this in. Okay, is this what we want to do? Not really at all. Hold on. This is not what we want. Damn it. I'm gonna have to purge this coal line. Okay, so now we want to merge these. And we want you to output priority steel to that side, and that should pretty much accomplish what we want. So steel's actually now backed up, which is great, but did I break this? Oh no, I didn't copy the one part. There we go. Okay, sweet. So one option that we can do is actually like bring multiple belts down and bring them in at different times, which is pretty much what we're doing here, but instead of like having these connect, you would literally just have one stop. Like this one would stop here, and it's really hard to see with the smoke, but and then this would come over. The only problem with that is that you then get some weird shenanigans with the coal being on the correct side. But what we can do now is first off get rid of all this coal and this iron, and we need to bring these lines over. So we have these additional lines over here, and let's see, so this one we can bring it down next to it really. So let's have this come over here. Want to stay consistent with our belt type, and really we should just be utilizing the whole length. Okay, so these can come over really about anywhere. Doesn't really matter. Like so. And I mean, I know belt work may not be the most entertaining, but let's be honest, this is a belt base and will be a belt mega base. So if you don't want to see belt work, you may be in the wrong place, because that's the kind of base we're building. So if I were to do a lot of that off screen, the series wouldn't really consist of very much. So let's go ahead and get, I'm thinking actually okay, we want one of these to go like this way, because we have that one other set of 4. So we have 3 iron smelters on. If I want to turn on a 4th, we will want one more line for that. So that's what that one can do. And then these, we may actually need most of this for steel, in all honesty. So I'm gonna bring, because we may need 2 red belts per side. Maybe. Let's evaluate this here. see what kind of mess we have to deal with. Because I mean, this is backed up. This whole thing's backed up, but problem is this is being split again. So ideally, this needs to actually be a red belt. And I mean, then you're just splitting it like too many times. So we really need like 2 red belts. We need 1 feeding into here. So we need like 2 feeding into this. Because then this should be 2 full yellow belts, really. Which should help with that. That was probably an important power pole. Okay, so this one, what I'm doing here is just moving things over a little bit. So that's going to go there. This is now going to feed 2 red belts into this splitter, which should then output. And I mean, really, you don't even need this splitter at that point. It's a little bit silly. So we can just do that. And again, it should probably utilize the whole length. These red belts are kind of expensive. So let's do that. I don't think that was the whole length, but it's close enough. Okay, so then now, there should be 2 full yellow belts coming down. And that should make it here. Now, if we want to, we could like turn this in, and then that will still merge correctly if you want to do something like that. I don't think it really matters. Thing is though, is that this still actually isn't even making it to the very end. So we almost need yet another belt, or to somehow split this again, but the problem is there's not room for that here. I've put these a little bit close together, so this is actually going to become a problem here fairly quickly. Let's see. Yeah, because this really needs to... Oh, but then the coal doesn't actually get here, so you can't do that. My bad. So yeah, this needs to split. I mean, maybe, can we do some sort of like really weird shenanigans with this? I kind of don't think so. Maybe. I mean, this is part of the fun of belts, right? Is we can figure out, okay, well that one, that won't work. Great. So much for that plan. Well, a belt can't actually fit here. I mean, I can like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. Because even if we put a splitter here, I mean, that's great and all, but a belt can't go past here. And then this inserter wouldn't be able to pick up. Unless it just picked up from the same belt. Because this whole thing's backed up and it's just merging onto a half side, so... I mean, it's making it a bit of a ways. But I think since this is backed up... Yeah, because what we can... Because I think if we split this, I mean, we can test it on this side. Why don't we test it on this side first, huh? We bring this down to, like, here-ish. Let me see how far it's making it. It's making it almost to the end. If we merge this, like, here... I want to see if that's actually going to do anything, or if it's just going to break stuff farther up. Probably it's just going to break stuff farther up. And I mean, this isn't actually really an even split either. Because this is only, this is like not close to half. So, but really it's not making it much past that point anyway. Yeah, so now we have an entire section in the middle that doesn't work. All right, so this gets a little bit wonky with how to get this to work. Let me have to contemplate this. I mean, we could just bring in a whole nother belt. It's just you can't really do that on this side. What we could do is we could bring it down the middle. This is why I leave these spaces. We could bring in the other belt here and then merge it in later, which may be what we have to do. Yes, get rid of all the coal. I mean, certainly better. It's making it almost to the end. I think we should just not touch it, really. I think we should just leave it be. And I'm actually going to just do that. Okay, so it's still pretty good. Now that that's backed up, we can do some more research. I would like... combat robotics can be fun. Let's knock that out. That can be some fun stuff to play with, the combat robots. And pretty much everything is backed up. Our factory is in a decent spot now that I've stopped the full pace research. And I'm actually curious as to whether we probably have yet another rocket ready to launch. We do actually, which is awesome. We could launch another rocket. We don't really need the space science right now. Mostly I want to look at these modules. Let's go ahead and grab that one. This is our last robotics destroyer capsules. So this guy is set to 100. He's full up. This is going to eat some resources, but we'll grab some more, continue to fill in those beacons. And the steel is okay for now. And that definitely helped. We did have 2, I think, additional belts there from that secondary train that we could tie into steel if we wanted to. So we could do a second steel setup, because I mean, that one we can't really make much longer anyway. And at this point, our power is probably starting to get a little bit on the iffy side. And I did turn on the production for another reactor, so that's something we could do, is set up an additional reactor worth here. Let's just turn that. Heat pipes, I have 25 heat pipes, that should be sufficient. I'm gonna take several of those, some of those, probably a lot of these. I'm just taking random numbers. So there's that, and let's make some pipe. I am noticing our red and green is kind of falling behind, which I'm not entirely sure why that is. It may be because I think the culprit is maybe this. I don't know, it's a little bit odd because this is all ratioed. These guys shouldn't really be falling behind. But for some reason they intend to. Still making a ton of landfill. This takes a ton. This takes 20 stone a piece. So we are mining out that stone patch. Also, this is what's left of our iron patch. If you remember what our iron patch was initially, this is all that's left of it. And not much left of this patch either. 540k, which is just hardly any. So let's run up here. So these guys, there's a couple ways we can do this. Like I've mentioned before, doing like 2x builds, so doing 2 deep or 2 high or whatever by x long is the most ideal thing. Currently, just with the amount we have, we would accomplish the same thing by either putting this one here or putting it here, because regardless of where we put it, it's going to give one reactor an additional bonus, so it would actually be at 300 or 200%. Doesn't really matter. Just for ease right now, I'm going to stick it here and then just disconnect our whole power in the process probably. Because now this one's going to have a bonus of 200%. And, well, actually they'll all have, well, yeah. So if we just kind of do this. So now that we've done this is going to change things a little bit, because this is where you need to, you need to pay attention to what your, bonuses are and stuff, because we're adding more reactors. So if you didn't consider the bonus, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, 1 more reactor, that's, 4 more boiler or heat exchangers, and then, that'd be 8 more turbines total. But you have to consider the fact that by adding this one, we've not only gained the neighbor bonus to it from the one we've put it next to, we've also then added another 100% to this one. This won't count, I don't think, until this actually turns on and gives it fuel. There we go. So this is 100%, this is 200%, and this is 100%. So total, this is 1, 3, and 4. So these, the neighbor bonus alone is essentially counting as 4 reactors plus the actual physical 3 we have here. So we have the equivalent of 7 reactors right now, which is really good. So if we just do some quick calculation, because my brain is probably broken, well, not really, actually. 4 times 7 is 28. So it's fast to do that and to get that out of my calculator. So like 28 heat exchangers, and then again, we'll just put 2 turbines off of each. That's not quite the right ratio, but I find that to be the easiest. So these are, what were these, in sets of 8? I think we may want to go 28 divided by 4 would be 7. So if I took one off, we'd have 4 sets. What if I did by 2? That's what, 28, 10, 14? 14 in a row? I know a pump's limitation, I believe, is like 11 or 12 of these that it can support water-wise. So going 14 long would be a little bit iffy. We could add another pump, but that's not really something I'm wanting to do. So let's see, if we did, and we could just do 4 sets of 7. We could just tear up the ends and do 4 sets of 7. However, I would like, okay, let's try it. Let's do 14. Let's see what happens. It's an experiment. So we have 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. Considering I counted correctly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 8, 14. Okay. So we'll see what happens here. Heat-wise, I think we'll be fine. It's the water. And I'm not sure if... Wow, really? You gotta be kidding me. Being out of those? I'm not sure if it's... I'll have to check if it's the pumps or the pipes. I think it's the pumps that are the limitation. The pipes would become a limitation at some point, but I don't know that they are here. So if need be, we can just attach 2 pumps to 1 pipe, essentially, and kind of negate this. However, if it becomes a pipe problem, then we're also going to have to then feed in like 2 pipes, which is what I wanted to avoid. But we'll see. This is kind of an experimentation together. I used to have all this stuff memorized, but like I said, it's been a very, very long time since I built nuclear power in Factorio, because most of what I've done was Megabase stuff, and I actually want my UPS and performance, so I didn't build a nuclear reactor at that scale, because let me tell you, a nuclear reactor to power 24 gigawatts worth of factory is freaking huge. and that is a lot of game performance. Okay, so we needed, how many of these did we need? Should probably count, huh? We needed 6, 7 more, and then some heat pipes. Okay, let's grab 50 more of these. We need 7, and that's 8. There we go. Thank you, game. We could research another whatchamithing. I really don't need to recycle these right now. I wanted braking force is what I wanted. We'll get the trains just a little bit more efficient. I'm actually curious, like, how many of these we have in here. These used fuel cells. Currently have 314. So we've gone through 314 fuel cells in this time. But again, we have more uranium, even just from our 2 Covrex processes. We have more stuff here than we could possibly want. Although, I'm curious as to, didn't we have way more than this? Didn't we have like 1,000? Are we actually using this faster than we're producing it? We might be, I'm not sure. We shouldn't be, but we'll see. Okay, so you're gonna come up here, heat pipe goes to the end. All right. And we'll need some substations. The water should be interesting. Now, since these are not under full power draw, this actually probably will work. It would just be an issue if this does become under full power draw. So, I mean, heat-wise, these were hooked up first, and this should be sufficient. Yeah, these are plenty hot. Combat, I'm looking for combat robotic damage. There we go. Get those guys up. And you can see the heat, they didn't turn on because these aren't quite hot enough yet. It's slowly getting up there. And the water, I mean, it's okay for now. So this should be quite a lot. This is a lot of potential power. You can see how far it's dropped down now for capability. And these lower level researches, we are knocking them out real quick. So for these combat robots, these are little guys. These guys are pretty fun. In comparison to like a personal laser defense and nukes, I find them kind of underwhelming. Before we had nukes and before personal laser defenses got buffed, these were pretty much the way to go late game because they were really good. And don't get me wrong, they're not bad. They're just, in my mind, a little inferior. But if you want to mess with them, they're still quite good. So we have 3 types here. We have a defender capsule, a distractor capsule, and a destroyer capsule. The defenders, they're kind of shown in the order of how powerful they are. The defenders are guys that will actually follow you around, and they shoot bullets because they take piercing ammo to make, or piercing rounds, whatever. So they actually shoot bullets. And then you have your distractor capsules, and these guys will actually shoot lasers. However, the difference here is that these do not follow you around. These are stationary, so you throw them out like you would a poison capsule or a grenade, and they will land wherever you throw them, and they will stay there and shoot at stuff for, you know, however long they exist for. Should say somewhere in here, 45 seconds down there. These are 45 as well. And then the destroyer capsules not only last for 120 seconds, they are similar to the defenders in the fact that they will follow you around, but these guys actually shoot electricity. You can see down there electric damage. And so they shoot electricity, and these can be quite good. If you get some upgrades and you have enough of them, you can actually get follower robot count. In fact, if I remember correctly, that I believe is an infinite research. It is. So this will change, like allow you to have more following you. So you throw these out, each like capsule you make gives you 5 destroyers that'll follow you for the 120 seconds. So you can get to a point where you have like 150 of these things following you around, which at that point can kind of just decimate things. But for the price of them, I would rather have just spent it on personal laser defenses. But these are fun to mess with. We will play with them here in the near future once I set up production for them, probably next episode, just so I can show you guys them and kind of show how they work. Because you can do some fun stuff with them. You can kind of like slingshot them into stuff, which is pretty fun. But I think I'm going to call it here. We're at 29 minutes. Next episode, we will set up the production for these. And these are kind of like inserters and such in the fact that they take all the previous level. So even though we're not going to use defenders, we will need them to make distractors and then distractors to make destroyers. And I will make some distractors because those can still be good. Even these can actually be good even without other robots around you, because if you're just using a laser defense or something, or even turret creeping, these are, well, hence their name, distractors. They can be a good job to kind of keep the biters busy while you go in and do the damage. But that's going to do it for now, guys. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Any questions, comments, do leave down below. But until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.